everyone, welcome to Gallant IAS Botany Optional program. Today we are discussing the syllabus of Botany Optional and the previous year question from 2019 Civil Service exam. When the root of the tree is deep, there is no reason to fear the wind. Likewise, if you are well aware of the botany syllabus, there is no reason to fear UPSC. As we know, the optional subject having two papers, paper 1 and paper 2. On the first half, we are discussing the units of paper 1 and later the units of paper 2. Let's discuss the unit of paper 1. The first unit of paper 1 is microbiology and plant pathology. Every year you get 4 to 5 questions from this microbiology and plant pathology unit. Give special emphasis to applications of microbiology and important crop diseases caused by virus, bacteria, fungi, nematodes and mycoplasma. Out of the 5 questions, around 2 to 3 questions are definitely from these two topics, applications of microbiology and important crop diseases. Keep this in your mind. The next unit of paper 2 is cryptogamous. Even though it's looked like concise, it is one of the important topics of paper 2. You have to cover algae, fungi, lichens, bryophytes and pteridophytes in detail, and it comprises half of the paper 1. And as we know, the algae and fungi, they are having a diverse groups of organisms, and you have to know the reproduction and their life cycles. Look at the question from 2019 Civil Service exam. Comment on the structure, ecological and physiological importance of leaf of azolla. So how can you write this answer? The question having 3 parts. The first is comment on the structure, ecological and physiological importance of leaf of azolla. That means comment on the structure means you have to draw the structure of azolla. That means you have to draw the diagram of leaf of azolla. Then it is an aquatic organism, so you have to mention its ecological and physiological importance. So this is the way to answer the question. Phanerogams, which is the largest unit of paper 3. For easily studying this, we can subdivide the phanerogams into gymnosperms, angiosperm systematics, study of angiospermic families and stomata and its types. The first part of phanerogams, which is gymnosperms. So what you have to study in gymnosperms? There are some families in gymnosperms are there, and they are mentioned in the syllabus sets. Just go through it, and you have to know their silent features and the evolutionary viewpoint of gymnosperms. That the 2 essential aspects you might have learned from this gymnosperms topic. And this is a question from gymnosperms in 2019 mains exam. Have a look onto it. The next is angiosperms systematic. That means angiosperm systematic means here we are strictly dealing with the classification. That means Bentham and Hooker classification. Every year UPSC asks any of this classification system, either Bentham classification or Hutchinson model of classification or Engler or Prandtl model of classification. So you have to know what are the different classification systems prevailing now. And look on to the question from 2019. Compare and contrast the system of classifications of Bentham and Hooker and Hutchinson and add a note on the merits and demerits. So how can you write this answer? Compare and contrast. So what do you mean by compare and contrast? You have to mention the similarities and dissimilarities of Bentham and Hooker classification and Hutchinson model of classification. And later, that question having another part, add a note on the merits and demerits. So you have to specifically mention what are the merits and demerits of Bentham and Hooker classification and Hutchinson model of classification. So this is the way to answer a question. Next is angiospermic families. There are 20 angiospermic families are there, and you have to study the identifying characters, floral diagrams and floral formulas of each of these families. So it's a hard task to memorize the identifying features, floral structure and floral formula is not an easy task. So to memorize this, just look onto your surroundings. You can see a variety of plants there. Pick out the plants from these families and identifying the flower. Observe the flower of that particular plant. This will help you an holistic idea about the morphological characters and floral structures and floral formula of each of these families. The last part of phanerogram, which is stomata and their types, and here we are mainly discussing on the leaf anatomy of C3 and C4 plus and the anomalous secondary growth and the endosperm and its development. So these are the major areas we are covered under this phanerogames. And the fourth unit is plant resource development. From the name itself, we can identify the important areas of this unit. Plant as a source for food or fiber, spices, beverages, medicines, narcotics. As we know, the plants having different applications are there, and it can be used in many other things. And the fifth unit is morphogenesis. Morphogenesis simply means a tissue culture technique, and you have to know what are the different tissue culture techniques and their applications. And this unit, which is a scoring, if you know the different tissue cultures technique and their application, you can simply write good answers from this topic. And it is one of the important topics of paper 1. So next is paper 2. Paper 2, which is an applied branch of biology. Here we are the application level questions, which are mainly comes in paper 2. The first unit of paper 2 is cell biology. So cell biology, which can be divided into structural and functional. So the first part we are dealing the structural elements of cell, and later the functional elements of cell. That means structural elements means cell organelles are there, ribosomes, endoplasmic reticulum, mitochondria, ribosomes are there. So we are discussing the function and role, the structural role and functional role. And later, when it comes to the second part, we are discussing the functional role, how it undergoes mitosis meiotic process, how the cell signal takes place, or the signal transduction takes place. And later we are discussing the molecular basis of cell cycle. So all these comes under the functional part of the cell, and the topmost part, which is considered as the structural part of the cell. And every year they are framing questions from both the structural and the functional part. Have a look on to the questions. This question, describe the cellular structure and functions of ribosome and peroxisome, both the cell organelles. So they are framed this question from the structural part, and discuss the role of histone in regulating chromatin structures, with special emphasis to histone N-terminal tails as well as nucleosome assembly. This is they picked up from the functional part. The second unit is genetics, molecular biology and biostatistics. Major topic of unit 2 is genetics. At least you get 3 to 4 questions from this unit. And if you know how to write these answers, you can simply score well from this unit. That is a peculiarity of unit 2. And these are the topics which comes under genetics. And there is a previous year question from this area, 2019 mains exam. It's a 10-mark question. That means it is asked in the compulsory question. The question is, dark brown seed coat in Phaseolus is dominant over light brown color. The following progenies were produced from the parents with non-phenotypes but unknown genotypes. And the parents and the progenies are given there. And the question is, you have to mention the genotype of each parent in 5 experiments by using the letter B for dark brown and small b for light brown. So how can you answer this question? By looking onto the progenies, you can simply identify the genotype of the parent. They have mentioned that capital B for dark brown. That means dark brown dominant, and the letter represent is B. There is only one trait. And light brown. Recessive, and the letter which denote the recessive trait is small. So here we are discussing only one trait, dark brown seed coat. So the dominant forms can either be in homozygous condition or it can be in heterozygous condition, and the recessive form is only in homozygous condition, that is small b, small b. And here the parents are dark brown is crossed with light brown, and the progenies obtain the dark brown and light brown. To obtain both dark brown and light brown progenies, the dominant parent must be in heterozygous condition. Then only it can produce both dominant and recessive progenies. So here the parent, the genotype of the parent is capital B, small b, and light brown there is only one case, that is small b, and by crossing we get the progeny is in the 1:1 ratio, which is similar to 110 and 105. These are the other questions from this area. Have a look on to this. Next is plant breeding. The unit 3 is plant breeding, biotechnology and biostatistics. On plant breeding, we are discussing how the plant breeding can be takes place and the different techniques and their and on the biotechnology part, here we are discussing the applications which are used for plant breeding technique, and the other part which is biostatistics. So don't neglect the biostatistics portion. Every year there is a question from biostatistics portion. So if you know how to write this biostatistics portions, you can simply score well on that questions, and particularly those questions which are coming compulsory questions. So don't neglect this part. Keep this in your mind. These are the questions from the unit 3, plant breeding, biotechnology and biostatistics. And the fourth unit is physiology and biochemistry. So this is the largest unit of paper 2. Mainly we are discussing the photosynthesis process here, and later the respiration process, that means aerobic respiration, anaerobic respiration and fermentation, and later the stress physiologies of plant and the growth and development of plant. So every year there must be around 8 to 9 questions which have been asked from this area. That means around 80 to 100 more questions you get simply from this area, from physiology and biochemistry part. So it is one of the most important topic of paper 2. And then look on to the questions from physiology and biochemistry. Okay, the last part is ecology and plant geography. It is one of the easiest unit of paper 2. You can write good answers from this unit as well as you can write bad answers too. To understand this, just look on to the previous year question. In the present scenario, global warming and climate change are amongst the greatest threats of human society. Justify the statement with examples. So this is a 20-mark question from 2019 Civil Service Means Exam. So how can you write this question? Anyone can write global warming and climate change, but we have to justify our statement with the help of examples. So where you can find that examples? From the current affairs. From the recent current affairs, pick that current affairs and justify the statement. What was the statement given here? Global warming and climate change. So you have to justify that statement with the relevant current affairs in the recent past. If you are writing the answer in this way, you can simply write good answers. Otherwise, you can also write bad answers too. That's why it is highly scoring unit in paper 2 if you know how to write a good answer. Hope this will help you to identify the most fruitful areas of paper 1 and paper 2. And the most fruitful areas of paper 1 is microbiology, plant pathology, cryptogams, angiosperms, morphogenesis. And the most fruitful areas of paper 2 is genetics, plant breeding, biotechnology, physiology, biochemistry and ecology. We are providing both online and offline courses. If you have wishes to join us, you can contact through our Telegram and WhatsApp number. And thank you for watching. Subscribe our channel for further updates related botany options. Thank you.